Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Peace Fund Radio with Ethan Dettenmaier and Adrian Paul, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Good morning, everyone. How are we all this morning? Oh, I'm good. Oh, I'm good. So there's nobody here to talk to this morning. I'm all on my own. Was John?
Adrian, you're on your own?
Oh, no! John's
Whoa!
there with me. John's there with me. Hello, John. How are you?
Good morning, Adrian. How are you this morning?
I'm just coming out of a fog of the weekend, actually.
Did we lose Ethan?
No, Ethan's just sampling some of the interviews that we actually had over the weekend. So he's
Awesome.
busy doing that because... we just want to give you a taste of what's coming up. We had a lot of people. We actually had Peace Fund Radio at the poker tournament. This is what we're talking about this morning. Peace Fund Radio was at the Peace Fund Poker event. I keep forgetting which one we're doing. But we had a bunch of people actually sit and talk to us on the radio show about different subjects, and we'll be bringing those to you in a few weeks as we go through it. We had Vincent Ward, Kaz Anvar, Roger Cross and Carl Weathers, Mackay Pfeiffer, Ariana Andrew, Jimmy Del Valle, Casey and Renee from the Storage Wars, Lou Diamond Phillips, Bai Ling. So we had a bunch of people talk to us about it.
It sounds like it. It sounds like it was a very very successful event. You sold out?
Yeah, we did very well in that respect. We filled all the tables that we had there, which was fantastic. And next time it'll be even bigger. And, as you go along, whenever you do anything, this, John, it changes. You learn things and you change a little bit of the format. We may address some things regarding the poker the next time round. So it's a different. You get to learn things as you create a new format, and that's what we did. We've created a new format, and we were very successful online. We were very successful with the press, with the celebrities. Everybody had a great time. Food was awesome. I want to thank my wife as well because she did a lot of the arrangements of that evening. I want to thank obviously Kimberly O'Keefe, who was our event coordinator.
One of the Peace Fund's hardest working
she's
volunteers.
fantastic.
She is incredible.
Absolutely. And we also had Fran, who came to volunteer, and Mike came to volunteer as well. We had, and we had our Microsoft volunteers and people from MBBL. So it was really, we had a lot of help at this tournament, but we realized we need more next time. As we grow, we need more people. But it was a fun event. It was really... It was full, and we finished when we wanted to, and we started. The only glitch we had, one glitch we had this whole presentation set up on what we did last year at the poker tournament and what the Peace Fund stands for, and it was a video presentation, and unfortunately the sound wasn't working very well, so unfortunately we had to cut that, which was unfortunate.
Now, is that video going to be online, or is it one of the videos that we have online now that people can still check out?
Yeah, it's one of the EPKs we actually have that talks about the Peace Fund. It was basically to give the people at the event itself a little insight into, what the Peace Fund does and who the recipients are and, et cetera, et cetera. So that was really what the thing was all about. It was...
Who was the big winner?
Unfortunate. Well, actually, I'm not going to give names. I mean, we were discussing that. We have to actually have allowance for privacy. If they do want to be private about it, we have to contact them whether we actually want to advertise their name first. But it was a Microsoft employee, which is awesome.
Yes. Microsoft have been huge supporters of this project from the beginning. Yeah,
they've been awesome about it. And, they hosted the event, of course. They've been fantastic at giving us little things, and of course the space is it's a great place for a poker tournament. For photos, it's not so good. There's overhead lighting that doesn't work so well, but we got some great shots, which we'll be putting out very shortly. It's been in a lot of press junkets. If you look at Peace Fund Poker, and you'll see a lot of the press. Our friend over at Easy Way Broadcasting, Eric Zuli, put out a whole slew of pictures on his site, so you can check him out there. We had it on all the major news networks, such as Wire Image. A lot of the different news agencies covered it, which was great. So
that's fantastic.
It's all good. So it's working all well, and we're very happy about it. And we're now on to the next one. What we do realize, we're going to start even sooner next time because. We were rushing a little bit at the end of all this, and it's amazing. You think you've got enough time, and you just don't.
Ethan talks about that a lot when he talks about the combat radio Christmas event that they always have for homeless children in the LA area. He talks about there's just no such thing as starting early enough.
No, he's right. I mean, I thought, we'll have 4 months, we'll be fine. 4 months was not enough time. And but last year we did, we were racing, we'd only had a month and a half. And we said, we'll give 4 months. But in fact, we should start 8, 9, 10 months ahead of time. So anyway, but in the news today, we actually... I just want to talk very quickly about global goals. We'll just talk about this for a second to start off with. We have on September 26th, 193 world leaders met and committed to 17 global goals to achieve 3 extraordinary things in the next 15 years. End extreme poverty, fight inequality and injustice, and fix climate change. The global goals for sustainable development could get these things done in all countries for all people. If the goals are going to work, everyone needs to know about them. Tell everyone, #GlobalCitizen, #GlobalGoals, www.globalgoals.org. But I want to ask a real big question. If you're dealing with climate change, why don't you deal with the amount of cows that are on the planet? Because basically the methane gas and the amount of water, do you know how much water it takes? If you look it up, you can look it up online. This is a fact online. How much water it actually takes to make a hamburger. Have a guess. How much do you think it takes to make a third of a pound hamburger to actually create it? How much do you reckon?
I'm afraid to answer the question because I'll be outing myself as part of the problem.
We talk about we've got to stop the amount of water we use in the homes. We do about the amount of water we put into the garden, etc. But the amount of water we actually use per day in any given day is approximately 48 gallons, I think it is. We actually, average household is at about 48 gallons a day. It takes, for a third of a pound hamburger, it takes 660 gallons to make that hamburger. It takes 1,000 gallons. I'm reading actually here on the Los Angeles Times actually brought this out. It takes 1,000 gallons of water a day per person to produce the food and drinks in the average U.S. diet, according to several sources. It takes actually more than 53 gallons to make an orange juice, 1 cup of orange juice. But the thing about cows and about that is the methane that they produce. We're going to bring this story to you next week, but it's a very serious problem that is not really being addressed by many of the actual environmental companies out there, because I think it's just too much of a sensitive thing dealing with the Amazon rainforest. I mean, people have been killed for speaking out against the agriculture industry down there. It's a bad situation, and unfortunately, this is something I think we need to address, and somebody needs to stand up and say something about it. So we're going to be doing that in the coming weeks.
We actually had a couple of our heroes of the week who have actually talked a lot about methane gas from landfills. Kieran Schreeder, who was on the show last week with wastenofood.org, and Gabrielle and Camille Possard from DonateDon'tDump.org. These are both kids who work really hard to take food that's for a landfill and put it in the hands of charities that can distribute it to people who need it. And they both talk a lot about the amount of methane gas that's in landfills from rotting food that should not be there in the first place. We need to be getting it in the hands of people who can use it, and these are some kids who have been doing that.
Yeah, but the issue is, John, that when you're dealing with cows and dealing with the amount of millions and billions of cows and meat-eating countries around the world now, which is, again, we had this discussion about, is meat a good thing to eat? We discussed this a few shows ago, but the methane gas alone, just the methane gas, and this has not to do with the other things that it creates. 14% of the world's greenhouse gases are responsible by agriculture, and a significant portion of these comes from methane. This is I'm just looking at the thing here. It says they emit dozens of polluting gases. The cows and billions of other grazing animals emit polluting gases. Now, what ends up happening is a lot of us in different areas are killing a lot of the regular animals to make way for grazing rights. And as we do that, we're actually killing our own environment, because the cows that we produce are actually sending out the methane gases, and on top of that, they're polluting the rivers and the oceans. There are several dead spots in the oceans. Off of Japan, for instance, is one dead spot, hundreds of square miles, where there are no marine animals at all, nothing, zero. That basically means that we're depleting our own food sources by putting a lot of meat on the table. This is something I want to bring later on because I think it's a very important issue to talk about. Let's talk about this poker tournament again this weekend because I want to get into that because we've got a lot of different issues to talk about. Ethan, good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm fine this morning. How are you?
Mr. Dettenmaier.
I know you were.
How you doing?
You were grabbing those clips on the side. You were working diligently there. Were you able to get anything?
I have what appears to be an Adrian Paul clip.
Oh, dear.
But none of us really want to hear that. So why don't we go on to the clip with... No. I have Adrian Paul loaded.
That's nice.
I think your clip is the intro to the actual event.
Yeah,
right?
I think... Okay, let's give you guys out there have listened to me talk about the event. You probably hear in the background there are quite a few people, but we actually had the Peace Fund Radio live and we came in to open the event up. So we're going to give you a little taste of what it was like.
That is.
Hey, we got a special guest, Mr. Adrian Paul. Throw down for us, buddy.
G-Man making things happen.
Ladies and gents, am I on? Am I live?
You are on
Can
live.
you hear me?
We are active. We are hot. You are hot.
I thought I'd come on and talk about it because the event's kind of warming up now, and there's a lot of people. We'll have Bai Ling over here in a minute, who I've worked with before, and.
We did. We just talked to Lou Diamond Phillips. He was wonderful.
Lou come on?
We did. Lou
He
came
did,
on.
yeah.
He's the peeps.
Yeah, I like Lou. Lou's a great guy. Yeah, I mean, and there's Mackay Pfeiffer's coming in a minute. I mean, we've got a lot of really cool people coming today. So
You got a great support base, Adrian.
We got 55 celebrities.
That's beautiful.
55, something like that.
That is a beautiful, beautiful show representation for such a worthy cause.
Yeah, well, I mean, today we the Peace Fund basically needs to support a lot of different charities. That's what we do. So. Our goal today is to support 3 or 4 different needy people. One is a little girl called Livy. Then there's our kids in Haiti that we're supporting, as well as Peace Fund Radio, because Peace Fund Radio will bring you all this information. So we need to actually stay live and stay on air.
Definitely. And Peace Fund Radio is on every Wednesday from
11 a.m. to 11:50.
All right, 11 to 11:50. You can tune in every week to hear the new activities that Adrian is bringing you through Peace Fund Radio, right?
Yeah. And you've been on it a couple of times too, haven't you?
I support, man. When you call, I don't even ask. I'm just glad you didn't send me to Hesperia today or something. This is what we all are grateful. I'm not in Hesperia.
What we've lost right now is Ethan Dettenmaier. What happened to Ethan Dettenmaier? He's lost in the crowd.
I mean,
we love Ethan.
We love Ethan.
Ethan.
I think that he had a soccer game with his daughter.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, so he's on his way. He has called in. He says he'll
get here when we finish.
Probably. But
I have to give him stuff because he'll bring up the Duran Duran video again and something else of that nature.
No mercy for us. No mercy for us.
Zero.
No mercy.
A loving but aggressive back and forth.
Yes, there's
it's a family affair. Are you kidding?
It's part of the process, isn't it? Isn't that part of the process?
We call it rite of passage. There we go.
Can you hear it? It's getting noisier as more people are coming in.
It is.
We've got an hour left
crowd,
before we start. Obviously, my watch is not working, but that means now this is going to get louder. I just saw Kazanvar walk in there.
But that's a good thing because this is loud. These are beautiful people coming to support a beautiful cause.
Yeah, I know.
We don't mind the noise.
Yeah, I don't actually. I'm actually happy that there is a lot of people.
Yeah.
If there weren't, I'd be like, oh gosh, what happened?
No, you roll better than that, Adrian. You know how it works. You know how it works. You know how to call the right people, and you know how to do the right thing. And like I said, the Peace Fund organization is true to my heart. And it's obviously true to many others' hearts. We love to see this.
So there was Rick Mora there talking all about the show and me, of course, at the time. And we had Eric Mark as well helping us talk about it. Ethan, we did talk about you. As you can see, you were there. You came in afterwards, I saw. But
they are qualified broadcasters.
They are definitely qualified broadcasters. So as you can hear, it was warming up at the event. And we'll bring you some more clips in the coming weeks about that event. But, we had a good time. Good time. You turned up at the end. You came in towards.
I was really impressed with it. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, what was great about it was everyone was so into it and so into playing. I saw Lou Diamond killing it. Is it Lou Diamond or is it
Lou Diamond Phillips?
Lou Diamond?
Well, Lou. We just call him Lou.
Lou. But I saw a lot of people having a good time. Excellent setting for an event. I mean, it literally is like a pleasure campus.
Yeah, it was actually, and the gift bags that we gave to all the.
Yeah, what was in those? I was asking. I didn't take one.
There was a whole bunch of stuff. There was, some beauty products. There was some Microsoft tchotchkes in there, little things, gift bags. It was just a thank you bag. Mm-hmm. All our prizes eventually.
Windows 10 or whatever it is. Was that available in the bag?
Wouldn't that be nice? A nice Surface. Yeah. I don't think that was not in the.
Well, one thing about them is I think they're a great partner for what you're building there. I think they like it. I think they put their some spirit into it. I thought it was a great setting.
Yeah, no, they've been so kind to us, and I think we've had great support from Microsoft, and actually, Microsoft. I'm going up in 2 weeks' time to Seattle, to their base in Seattle, and I'm doing a sword experience. I'm doing 2 of them actually. One is going to be just for Microsoft employees and members there. There'll be 50 of them,
Wow.
and then there's a second event on the Sunday, the 11th. That will, again, be up in Seattle for the general public.
Can I ask you a couple of things about your poker tournament?
Yeah.
Okay, you were in there till the end. How did you ultimately fare? It looked like you were surviving.
I was surviving. It was so funny. I was on the table with Matthew Willig. Matthew's a great actor, big guy, huge. I mean, he's huge. And from the very beginning, every hand I had, somebody had one better. I had a pair of queens, he had a pair of kings. I had a pair of kings, somebody had got an aces. I mean, it was just every time. So I got towards the end, and I was literally just hanging on. I mean, if I didn't have the online support, I wouldn't have hung on. I would have been out probably much earlier. But so the thing was, it was just weird, and I hung on. And at the very end, I went all in. I won my first hand. I went all in. I won the second hand. The third time I did it, I looked at what a hand I had, and I shouldn't have done it. and I did it, and I went out. So
Well, it seemed like you were there till the final few minutes. 5 minutes left, 3 minutes.
No,
left?
no, there's more than that. There was good another 20 minutes or so.
And who was the big winner?
Well, I can't give the name. It was a Microsoft employee, indeed. Yeah, and again, if he allows us to give his name, it's fine. But it was a Microsoft employee, and so that was very fitting in a sense. I wasn't, because we had poker pros there. We had a lot of people played a lot of poker, so it was a very fast game, and it went by very quickly actually.
I had a couple of other event-related questions, but I can't recall what they were, but I'm glad you did well, and I'm glad the event did well. It would look like a lot of fun. There was some karaoke going on.
Yeah,
too.
there was karaoke as well. There was some rapping going on. There was the Microsoft.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah, well, it was funny because there was karaoke and there was some sort of rap going on, and there was and I'm like,
did you rap, Adrian?
No, I don't rap.
It's okay to admit it.
No, I don't. No,
he could have pulled it off. He could have pulled it off.
I was funny because I was actually brought onto Easy Broadcasting the other day. I did an interview on that, and Eric Zuley put me on the spot and said, "Would you? Okay, let's just do a riff." And I'm like, "No." He said, "No, I'll do the backbeat and you do the riff." I said, "No." I said, "No, but you can do it." And I said, "No." He said, "Well, you're going to be scared." I said, "Well, there you go. You just have found out something about me. I'm not going to do it, so I'm scared." But let's talk a little bit about today's show, because today's show is a serious thing. We're going to be bringing somebody on this morning who was actually one of our the mother of one of our recipients, and a young girl called Livy. Now we're going to talk about epilepsy this morning. Although epilepsy is one of the oldest medical conditions on record, it really remains wrapped in mystery and myth. It's a neurological condition which affects the brain, and it also is a physical condition because the body is affected when someone has a seizure. It is more common than Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, autism, and cerebral palsy combined. Okay, you got that? It's combined. It's much bigger than all those combined. Not to say that these other conditions are not very important as well, but this one is much more rampant. A third of the people with epilepsy will live with uncontrolled seizures because no available treatment works for them. Many more live with serious side effects from their medication as the price of seizure control. Many of the patients are children who can experience up to hundreds of seizures a day. The impact on the developing brain ranges from learning disabilities to retardation, and in disturbingly large numbers of patients, even death. Fear, misunderstanding all surround this chronic neurological condition, making many people reluctant to really talk about it. So that reluctance leads to lives lived in shadows, discrimination in workplaces, communities, and lack of funding for new therapy research. So, myths or truths? So I'm going to put these out there today. We'll have a little quick question, and Ethan and John can chime in because that's what we love to do here. Is it a myth or is it true you are born with epilepsy? The cause is genetic. What do you guys think? Is epilepsy a genetic fact, or is that a myth or is that a truth, John?
I say no. My mother had lots of seizures before she passed, and they were never able to figure out what the cause of those seizures were. So I'm definitely going to say that it's a myth that you're born with it.
Okay, so it's not genetic. What about you, Ethan? What do you think?
Well, these are always kind of trick questions from you, so I never really know really how to answer these because what I think is sometimes misconstrued into being wrong. So I'll let you just give the appropriate
There are
answer.
ways of making you talk, you
Exactly.
know.
See,
We have
Colonel
ways
Clink,
here.
Colonel
The
Clink
name
in the
is on
studio.
the charts. I will put you on the board and we will talk to you later. Okay, it's a myth. It's a myth. The truth is anyone can develop epilepsy at any time. Some people are born with it, whereas others have their very first seizure in middle age. While genetics can play a factor, there are more common causes of epilepsy, such as head trauma, brain tumor, or lesion and stroke. In most cases, about 65 to 70%. The cause of epilepsy, like your grandma, John, is unknown. So, one other fact: during a seizure, you can swallow your tongue. Is that a myth or truth?
That seems like it would be true.
You think it was true? What about you, John? You can swallow your tongue during a seizure.
Ooh. I'm going to say myth.
Myth. You're correct. It is a myth. The truth is it's impossible for someone to swallow their tongue during a seizure, and therefore nothing should ever go into a person's mouth during a seizure. So just remember that. There are some facts here we should have a look at. It's the fourth most common neurological disorder after Alzheimer's, stroke, and migraine. Almost 500 new cases of epilepsy are diagnosed every day in the United States, and 30% of those diagnosed are children. Children and seniors are at higher risk. In 2/3 of patients diagnosed with epilepsy, the cause is unknown. And the last one, which is the mortality rate among people with epilepsy, is 2 to 3 times higher than the general population. Now, John, you were talking about your grandma having had seizures.
It was my mother. My mother, actually.
Your mother.
And,
so what was what are seizures from this particular thing? What was the type of things that you experienced?
Well, her seizures were never convulsions. She would, in other words, she would just zone out, and it would seem like it was. It looked from the outside looking in more like a stroke. I remember there was one instance where they thought she had a stroke. She had a massive seizure. We thought it was a stroke. The doctors thought it was a stroke. 3 days into her hospital stay, a doctor came into the room and said, well, she'll never be able to move or speak again. You need to start looking into assisted living options because she's had a massive stroke. Within 24 hours, she was walking and talking as if nothing had happened. And they're like, oh, well, gee, we thought it was a stroke, but it was a seizure. And, when she passed away, which was actually 4 years ago this month, she went into the hospital on a Monday with seizures. And on Thursday night, they told us, okay, everything's passed, everything's good, we're going to send her home tomorrow morning. And in the middle of the night, something happened. Something in her brain, I don't know. They still have no idea what happened. But it went from, we're going to send her home Friday morning to, you guys can come in for the final moments. And it was like, wait, what? And it was just, it still doesn't make sense. Didn't make sense then, didn't make sense now.
Well, the physical thing about, the brain is such a complex organism, and there are, in the normal brain functions, there are millions of tiny electrical charges pass from the nerve cells in the brain to the rest of the body. And
it's still so much that it's still such a mystery.
And it's such a mystery. And so they believe that a seizure occurs when the normal pattern is interrupted by sudden and unusual intense bursts of electrical energy, which may cause, like you saw, John, different types of sensations, emotions, behaviors, or convulsions, muscle spasms, loss of consciousness. And that's what they classify as a seizure per se. And epilepsy is known as a seizure disorder. Two major groups: primary generalized seizures and partial seizures. Difference between these types is how and where they begin. So let's just talk to people about them. A primary generalized seizure begins with a widespread electrical discharge that involves both sides of the brain at once. Hereditary factors are important in many of these types of seizures. Now, partial seizures begin with electrical discharge in one limited area of the brain. Many different things can cause this. Head injury, brain infection, stroke, tumor, or changes in the way an area of the brain was formed before birth, which is called cortical dysplasia. Many times no known cause is found, but genetic factors may be important in some partial seizures. Now, I'm kind of, I mean, this is the biological way of looking at it. What's the trigger? Have you ever seen what the trigger could be for some people? Do you know what it was for your mother there, John?
They never figured it out. They never figured it out. We drove her to Missouri, to the University of Missouri to be looked at as specialists there. We took her all over the place to different doctors, different specialists. No one ever figured out could ever come up with a reason for why it was happening.
There's a whole bunch of things here that I have in front of me. One is fever. Some children with a seizure, when the temperature rises quickly, usually to 102 degrees or higher. These are called febrile or fever-caused seizures, and in most cases don't lead to epilepsy. They usually affect kids between 3 months and 6 years, and are most common in toddlers. About 1/3 of children who have febrile seizure will have another one, but most children outgrow them. The other one is missed medication. If somebody doesn't have the medication, or as often as recommended by the doctor, it's another common cause of unexpected seizure in children with epilepsy. Another one, which is lights, which I think we have heard before, flashing or flickering lights. This is a photosensitivity type of seizure. Brain disorders, children who have certain brain conditions, tuberous sclerosis, cerebral palsy, mental retardation, autism, neurofibromatosis may have a likely cause to have these types of seizures. The underlying brain disturbances may give rise to seizures or make the child more likely to have recurring seizures. 3 other causes: hormone changes. In some girls, it's actually when they go through puberty. Amazing that. I never even thought about that.
That is
amazing.
Did you think of that? No, I didn't know that.
When they go through puberty, that actually the hormone change is so drastic that it actually may get them into a seizure. So be aware. Foods. Some people find that certain foods cause them to have seizures. While there's little evidence of such connections, it's best to avoid any foods that seem to increase your child's chances of having a seizure. Again, I believe you should check your child's eating habits and see if there's anything that, if you do have a child that has seizures of this nature, to possibly see if there is any common thread in what you're feeding them as to the times they do have seizures. Some studies have shown that a ketogenic diet, if strictly followed, can help control seizures for some children. What is a ketogenic diet? Do you know? Anybody out there know?
I have no idea.
I've never heard of it. Have you heard about that one, John?
High fat, low carbohydrate, adequate protein diet.
See, I knew John would know. High fat. Do you say high fat, low protein?
Let's see. It says high fat, adequate protein, low carbohydrate. That in medicine is used primarily to treat difficult to control epilepsy in children. It forces the body to burn fats rather than carbohydrates.
Mm-hmm. I mean, of course, seizures can affect anybody. I mean, stress and anxiety can cause people to have seizures because, mental processes such as reading or math sometimes, which are real complicated to some people that stress over certain things, can cause them to actually have a seizure. So it's very stressful someone having a seizure. The research they do and the acceleration of new therapies cost money, so that's where a lot of their attention is going to right now. 1/3 of the people living with epilepsy have seizures that cannot be controlled with current treatments, so they're looking at other ways to actually control them. Now, John, I know that this morning we also have Allison Scheinman on, Livy's mother. Do you want to actually go through what we talked about? We've talked about Livy 2-3 times on the show before with Livy's hope. And I want you to sort of bring us up to date, John. I think John's disappeared.
Hi.
Hello, is he there? I think he's gone. Hello, John, are you there? No, I don't know. He's disappeared on us. It's
Maybe
that
it's
closet.
you
It's
said.
that closet. Either I said something to him, or it's that closet that he's in.
Yeah, well, the connection is sketchy depending on his secret location.
Yeah.
But,
Well, he is sketchy,
let's see if we
actually.
can he's sketchy.
I would say he's a little sketchy.
Maybe that's why he's.
John, look at
he
it.
hung
Where
up
are you
on us.
today? Oh, I can't tell you.
Well, that's
Really?
true.
Really? You can't tell me? Okay,
I'm
then.
working to get him back, actually. I don't know, and also talk to Allison Scheinman.
Okay, well, Allison Scheinman is the mother of Livy, who is actually one of our beneficiaries, and she will bring us up to date with all the types of things that Livy's going through.
Are we calling her now?
I think we should. Is
Let's
John
try it.
still back on the line yet?
No, but I can add him when he gets through.
Okay, all right. Then we can talk to Allison and have a chat.
Here we go.
Hello.
Hello, Allison. Good morning.
Hello there.
Hi, this is Adrian, Paul, and Ethan Dettenmaier.
Hi, guys.
How you doing this morning?
We're doing okay. We're hanging in there. I've got 2 little sick girls on my hands today.
No.
So.
Oh, really? Don't tell me there's a virus going around. Because
Something started. It started at Hailey School, and it traveled to Livy. So we're sort of we're covered in tissues over here.
It's funny because I was watching my son this morning, and he was coughing. I'm like, oh, no, please don't tell me it's that time of year.
Uh-huh.
Because... you really love it when then one child gets sick because the rest of them are going to follow very shortly, and then you do.
That's right. And then, yes, well, luckily I'm not sick now as well, trying to take care of them, so that's good at least.
You know what we did a couple of times? We had those masks. The one mask people in China and that they use a lot of the time, which I think is a little, surgical mask. Stops you from, because a lot of the time when my kids would jump into bed, they'd be coughing in my face. So sometimes I go to bed with like a bandana wrapped around my nose and that, so that I know that when they jumped in, they stop it. Now, you did a presentation to Accorda Technologies in New York yesterday. What was that? What was that about?
Yeah, actually, it was Hailey and my husband John were the ones who traveled to New York to Accorda Therapeutics, actually. And I can have Hailey tell you a little bit about it in a second, about the actual presentation. But just to let you know about Accorda, they develop therapies that help to restore function and to improve the lives of people who have neurological disorders like epilepsy. Mm-hmm. So I'll let Hailey explain what they did.
Well, when we were there, we got to tell a good amount of the employees there our story. And we also, after that, had a lemonade stand and cookies, and we sold them to the people there. And the money was going to go to Lemonade for Livy, which gave all the money to the Epilepsy Foundation to raise money for epilepsy research.
That's awesome. Hailey, your mom says you're sick at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like the last day because I started on Thursday, but I'm basically better now. Just a little cough. Just a little cough.
Okay, good. So, we were so happy to hear about the lemonade stand. You know how many times I've actually spoken to people about that? So many times I tell people about what you guys accomplished. I think it was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Allison, just a question. When Livy and Hailey were born, how long after did you find out that Livy's epilepsy was diagnosed?
I would say it was a few hours after the girls were born. They had just brought the girls into the room. I had been recovering for a while, and a few hours later, they brought the girls in. I literally got to spend a few moments with them before the pediatrician, took them out to check them over. And right away, the pediatrician noticed that Olivia was having really unusual eye movements. And so they thought she was having a seizure. So they quickly just whisked her away to the NICU, and that was it. I didn't have much more time to spend with her. So they took her right away to the NICU, and after a multitude of MRIs and PET scans and blood tests, muscle biopsies, so on and so forth, they determined that she had a brain malformation, and that's what was causing all these seizures to happen. So indeed, she was diagnosed with epilepsy very soon after.
Right. She has cerebral palsy as well, from what I understand. Did they believe the two conditions are related?
Epilepsy definitely has association with cerebral palsy, but not all children who have CP develop seizures, and not all children with epilepsy have CP. But in many of the cases, I believe half the cases, they do tend to have both together, which Olivia falls into that category.
Do you think the diagnosis from 2004 to today and the understanding of epilepsy is different now?
It's, when it comes to the brain and epilepsy, there's still so much that the doctors and the scientists don't understand. And I believe there have been some advancements and discoveries since then in 10 years, but it's still a gray area. There's still a lot that needs to be learned and a lot of research that still needs to be done.
So I would imagine that every single case there is a slightly different treatment in that.
There is, and actually, it's interesting. I think about the families that we're close to that have children similar to Olivia, And, they all have very different types of seizures, and they're all treated very differently. They all have very different cocktails, we call them, of medications that they're on. So Olivia might be on 3, and her other friends might be on one of those 3, but 2 others, and so on and so forth. So there isn't one cure-all for epilepsy and for seizures, unfortunately. So it's a mix for everyone.
It's interesting. One of my partners, his child, actually, when they were born, the umbilical cord was wrapped around the baby's neck, so the baby was starved of oxygen and had some slight brain damage when he came out. And it was interesting and I've spoken about this on before, and I'd like your opinion because I'm sure I'm going to get the same answer. When I had them over to our house, at first they were a little reticent to say yes, because I said, well, why? She said, well, because there's other kids there. And I said, well, that's fine. My kids will play with you. What do you? She said, well, sometimes we find that, we go out to play, and this was in Hungary. We go out to play, and other kids, or other mothers, more mothers and parents, kind of treated our son as if they had some sort of disease or something, or would not play with them because they didn't want their kids to play with them because they felt there was something wrong with them. Have you ever felt that?
When I take Olivia out in public, she's in a wheelchair as well, so her disability is a little more evident. You can see her; she's obviously handicapped. But yeah, there's always that worry, going out into public that someone's going to see Olivia having a seizure, and you're not quite sure how people will react. So that is something that's a stigma that goes along with epilepsy, unfortunately, that people fear that others will treat them that way. But we live in a community here. We've done a lot of education. A lot of Hailey's friends, classmates, everyone in this community we live in, I think they kind of know who we are now. For what it's worth, I think a lot of people have been very, open-armed to us and understanding of Olivia. And but yeah, when we go outside of our little community here, there is a fear that we're not sure how people will react.
It's interesting what you just said there. There is a fear, and I think you mentioned another word, which is education.
Yes.
I think that runs the gamut of everything that happens on the human level. When we're not educated about something, whether it is epilepsy, whether it's about another culture, another race, or whatever, we have fear about it, and therefore we don't want to be around it, or we attack it. I think that's something that needs to be addressed, that there should be more education on these types of subjects.
I agree. And even here I am, a mom who's witnessed thousands of seizures by my daughter. I've seen her seize so many times. I've seen so many other children seizing. And of course, I've seen it, but I can only imagine for other families or people who haven't seen that before, it can be very scary to watch. And I have fear when I see certain things that I'm not accustomed to. So I understand that. But the more that we do educate other people and each other about things, then the fear can just melt away. We don't have to fear that way. So it's interesting. I just want to say really quickly, too, Hailey and I were just doing some research last night about the history of epilepsy. And it's unbelievable that just not even 30 years ago, that how people were so discriminated for this because of the fear. Back during, ancient times, people were thought to be demonized from seizures. And what did it say, Hailey, about that if a demon attacked you or something?
Well, it said that if someone who they thought had a demon inside them who was really had epilepsy, that if they touched someone else, the demon would
jump into that.
Supposedly be transferred to the other person unless they spit immediately.
Oh my God.
And I know that's obviously years and years and years ago, but up just till recently, there was this terrible discrimination and misunderstanding of what even epilepsy was. So that's why I understand why there's a fear. I do.
Let's talk a little bit about your visit to Cortigen Life Sciences in Massachusetts. Hailey and I believe your husband John, is it?
Yes.
Went there, and how did that visit come around? What did you learn there?
What did you learn at Cortigen? Well, tell them what Cortigen does.
Yeah, first of all, tell us what Cortigen does.
Okay. I'll just tell you here that Cortigen, a fantastic up-and-coming organization, they provide genetic testing that can help lead to better diagnosis and treatment of different disorders, epilepsy being one of them. So, yes, our whole family was invited. Unfortunately, because Olivia can't fly, Hailey and John took the flight together, and I'll let her tell you about that.
So, again, we did another presentation there, and to all the employees there. And the part that I really loved is when we got to go into the lab, and I got to see all of the robots working and all the genes being tested, and I absolutely love seeing that. And I thought, okay, maybe I'm going to work here one day.
They almost hired her.
What do you want to do when you grow up, Hailey? What do you want to do?
Well, there's actually a whole lot of things I like. I like inventing things, like in the science area. I like math, art, and a whole lot of other things. So I really don't know.
How old are you now, Hailey?
10 and 3/4, basically.
10 and 3/4. Let me tell you something. When you become 40, you'll be like, I'm 39 and soon. Oh, you'll change it. Trust me, it goes backwards. It doesn't go 10 and 3/4 anymore. It changes. There'll be a point in time you don't want that 3/4.
Nice.
Anyway, let me ask you another question, Hailey. You've got Livy's Hope Kids Crew as well.
Yeah.
What is the Kids Crew, and how many kids are there?
Well, to start, there are about 50 members in the Kids Crew now. And so the Kids Crew is a group of kids, and we get together every month. And our goal is basically to help children with medical needs and their families. And we do that by helping nonprofits who have that same focus. And like some of my favorite places that we've helped, one of them was the Ronald McDonald House, and we collected 20 boxes full of items from their wish list. We raised $1,300 for wheelchairs for kids to buy a girl with special needs and something called an adaptive tricycle to help her learn how to ride a bike. And also, we all made cancer kits for kids who are going through chemotherapy. All the kids brought in some fun items to put in the kits, and when we gave them to the kids in the hospital, we knew it would help them pass the time.
So you've done a lot of stuff here. I mean, and obviously Lemonade for Livy. How did that go this summer?
Awesome.
Awesome.
It was fantastic. This year was amazing, and we're partnered now with the Epilepsy Foundation, and our goal is to have a lemonade stand or party in every state around the country. And obviously, we'd love to be more international. We had some other countries participate this year, but how did we do this year? What have we done so far? Hey.
Well, actually, as of now, we raised over $35,000. Sorry.
Hold on a second. So hold on. You've raised $35,000 in what period of time, and doing what?
Since July.
Since July, you've raised $35,000.
Yes.
Okay, and tell me exactly how you raised that.
Well, so we have a lemonade stand, but also we encourage people from across the country to have lemonade stands as well. So we have a bunch of people from around the country raising money, and we also try and encourage people
That's awesome.
out of the country to have lemonade stands as well.
Amazing. People just didn't know lemonade was going to be that profitable, did they?
Now people do.
Well, now people do it. That's an awesome. It was such a great idea. It was so simple and so great, and I'm so happy that you did that.
Thank you. And it's still going on. It's ongoing. It's really year round. It's not just in the summertime. People are still having bowling events and crafting events and corporate business events to help us continue to raise this money. And again, we're already getting ready for next year's kickoff as well.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be a lemonade stand. It could be a lemonade party.
Lemonade party. I like those lemonade parties. We should have one here. Have a lemonade party.
Any kind of lemonade.
Hold on a second. What
adult lemonade?
Are there different types of flavors? I mean, because you've got watermelon lemonade, you've got lemonade, do you offer different flavors?
Well, when we have our lemonade stand, one time someone brought in this amazing strawberry lemonade.
Ooh.
We also have had grape lemonade. We had some grape lemonade. Have we had any other flavors? I think that's how many flavors we had. But maybe next year we'll try another one.
All right. Well. Let me just in closing, because we're going to have to close quickly now. Your family basically carries such a bright torch of hope for so many people out there whose children are facing medical hardships. Do you have any advice or insight that you can share with all those moms and dads who are listening to our show today?
I would say our tagline says it all. Livy's Hope says, "Don't give up, give back." And that's our family's message, that we decided, instead of being sad about our situation, we decided to start reaching out to others, helping others, taking that focus off of ourselves. And doing so has just brought so much joy to our family. And it's something that we'll continue to do, and continuing educating yourselves, connecting with other people. You're not alone. And that's a huge message that we've received from others, that we're not alone, and don't give up, ever.
Well, Hailey and Allison, thank you so much. Please say hi to Livy for us, and we'll have something for you shortly.
Certainly will.
And please continue what you're doing, because I think it's awesome that you do this. And please continue it, and hopefully we'll talk again.
Well, thank you, and thank you so much for educating others in this segment today. It's so wonderful to hear all of these facts and information getting out there. And by the way, we got 100 on your quiz.
Good job, good job.
So thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. See you. Take care now. So there we have it. That was Allison and Hailey, Livy's mom and sister. On Peace Fund Radio this morning. It was it's interesting when you have a 10-year-old that's gone through that's what always makes me smile when I see a 10-year-old that's gone and done a lemonade scam for $130,000, $35,000 since July.
And that's just this summer. They did this last summer as well.
And they did this last summer. I mean, I think it's awesome. But John, do you have any updates for us? How quickly do we end this show every week? I can't believe it's 3 or 4 minutes left. How long we got, Ethan?
3 minutes.
I know we're running out of time quickly. I wanted to say that if you go to thepeacefund.org right now, on the right side of the page under our Give a Helping Hand banner, there's a link to our supporter wall to help the Peace Fund purchase eye gaze technology for Livy that will help her communicate with her family. This is a very, very special family. And when Adrian came up with the Helping Hand initiative and he asked me if there were any of our heroes of the week who might benefit from it, before the question was even all the way out of his mouth, I knew that I wanted to contact the Scheinman families they give so much, and they ask for nothing in return. They give so much help and hope to other families. And in fact, when I contacted the Scheinmans, I contacted John and I said, hey, Adrian has this new initiative called Helping Hand. His first reaction was, oh yeah, let me talk to Hailey and see if there are any kids that she knows that we can help. I was like, actually, John, we want to help. We want to do something for your family for once.
Isn't that
completely
amazing?
Selfless.
Isn't that
Completely
amazing?
selfless.
I think that's awesome. He said, is there some other kids we might be able to help?
Yes, he was going to talk to Hailey and get me a list of kids who needed medical equipment. And I said, actually, John, we want to help your family for once.
Well, that's why we actually have to help families that are in need and bring these issues out there, because there are some great people doing some great stuff out there. And I just wanted to encourage everybody else, because Ethan and I have talked about it every week, right, Ethan? How sometimes we're blown away by some of these kids that do things and kind of, in a sense, shamed into doing something about it. It kind of makes you think suddenly, doesn't it?
It does.
And to find out more about the family, you can go to livyshope.org. It's LIVYS hope.org, and you can find out all the information you need about how to your kids can contribute to Lemonade for Livy. There's just a lot of great information there, and this is a wonderful family who's doing a lot. They ask for nothing in return, and it's just an amazing story.
Well, thank you, John. Thanks for bringing us that. The poker tournament was a great success. We will have something up on the Peace Fund site. We will have a new site soon too. We're looking at new designs right now from our designer, and so that is moving forward. We'll have some great new stuff coming up there. But you can go onto our site and check out our Helping Hands segment, where you can actually help different children that we want to bring a little bit of attention to. Small amounts that we're trying to raise there, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 sometimes. So check.
And I wanted to throw in quickly, it's livyshope.com. My mistake, not .org. Livyshope.com.
Okay, livyshope.com. And obviously, we will be bringing you more excerpts about a lot of the celebrities that came to the Peace Fund Poker Tournament. We will be bringing them on Peace Fund Radio. As I said, there were several that talked to us: by Ling, Lou Diamond Phillips, Roger Cross and Carl Weathers, Mackay Pfeiffer, and WWE superstar Ariana Andrew. So we've got different people coming on and different excerpts and different topics coming up in the next few weeks. I want to thank all of you that donated there. I want to thank all the people that actually supported us, as well as the volunteers, obviously, that came in to actually help us that day, because I think it was a great time to do that. Now, we will be back with you next week. I want to leave you with there's a quick comment that I want to leave you with. They did say, don't give up. And somebody asked me if I was one thing I could actually tell a child, what would be the thing that I would tell them? And I would say, don't take no for an answer, because we do that so often in our daily lives, because we're so hit by all the things that happen to us that we now take no and we don't try and drive through. A child won't do that. So in closing, a quote from an anonymous quoter. You learn how long 30 seconds really is when you're watching your child have a seizure. This is Adrian Paul and Ethan Dettenmaier. We will talk to you again.
You're listening to Peace Fund Radio with Ethan Dettenmaier and Adrian Paul, right here on LA Talk Radio.